Good evening, Angus. How are you?
Evening, Luke. I'm good, thanks, mate.
Uh,
A
and
little bit cold tonight, so I'm in the shed.
Fair enough, you've been sent to the shed. Um, Welcome everyone to Basement Quality Banter, episode 13. We've got a little bit on the ticket tonight, which is good. Talking all things beer and shite. First up, have you got a beer?
Certainly do. I decided to raid my box of Belgians, and I've come up with a Hogarten Julius. It's 8.5% Belgian blonde. So it doesn't mention that it's a triple or a Belgian strong. It says Belgian blonde. So
Interesting. I um
yes.
I dug up. I found this on my shelf. I haven't seen it for ages. It's a Resch's Silver Bullet.
Pilsner.
Resch's
Jeez.
Silver Bullet, 4.9%, 375. I'm not going to drink it because if you look on the back, it's from Agquip 83 in Gunnadah.
Gunnadah. I was about to say, I remember I could have been down near Goa and Armidale. Yeah, right.
Yeah, Agquip Gunnadah. Yeah, no, what I've really got is I was went and saw Sean today at Future Magic, and I've got the new Billy, the West Coast IPA,
Yep.
6.5%. So he assures me it's a proper Westie. So let's see.
Oh, good. I'm a sucker for a real old school Westie.
Yep, it's got some pine in it. Little bit of tropicalness, so more sort of new style, but decent bitterness. Oh yeah, no, that's nice. I like that one.
I have to pop back in again.
Yeah, yeah,
Get
definitely.
another dancing 12% stout again.
And how's your Hoogeden?
Hoogren. It's pretty nice. It's sneaky, which I really appreciate with the Belgian beers being so high in ABV, but you just don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty gentle in the aroma, like a little bit of stone fruit maybe. It's pretty gentle in the aroma.
yep. No, that's nice. That's a nice IPA. Nice and bitter. That's right up there in the IBUs. Like that. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit of alcohol on the flavor on that one, but still pretty sneaky.
Yeah, nice.
And the other thing I've got is a fermenter sample of a Belgian triple.
Ooh, how's it smelling?
Uh, it's got a really kind of strong bubblegummy, yeasty flavor. I haven't quite gotten any of the lemon myrtle out of it yet, so I think I'm allergic to yeast, so I picked that up straight away. That's all I'm smelling out of it because it's straight out of the fermenter. Halfway through cold crash, so it's still 11 or 12 degrees. So it's finished, which is a story in itself. So I've got a glycol chiller made out of a aircon system, and I run that through a cooling jacket on my fermenter. And the inkbird that I've got controlling the glycol chiller has crapped out and is reading about 20 degrees hotter than what actually is.
Oh,
So, so about, luckily, it seems about 30 hours after pitching, my system went tits up and the whole glycol reservoir froze solid. And so my beer went from being at 19, where I wanted it for a few days, to whatever the hell it felt like, which was about 25 degrees. So it finished fermenting in a day and a half.
yeah, we just call that a natural rise. That's fine.
Yeah.
Lucky,
So I expected
lucky it's
it to,
winter in Brisbane. Yes.
yeah, I expected it to be absolute fusel wrecked. I just assumed it was a write-off.
Mm.
And I was working from home today, and at lunch, I'm like, yeah, I might have a sneaky sample. So I went out and just pulled a small sample off. And surprisingly, it's not full of fusels, and I just assumed it would be wrecked because it was fermenting at 25 degrees for a few days. So I just assumed it was way too hot and it was wrecked, but nah, it seems to be okay. So
Interesting.
if it's good, I have to reproduce the exact same conditions next time, right?
Yeah, just turn it off. If yeah, that's the only thing
Yeah.
you can do. Just notate those temperatures for the days. Yeah, good.
I think it's got a little bit of the lemon in it, but again, it's just so yeasty, and I'm very sensitive to yeast, so I'm not getting any different flavors out of it.
Mm.
But the important thing is it's not packed full of fusels and gin and raw alcohol. So that's I'm pretty happy about that.
Oh, well, it could be a
Mm,
blessing in disguise.
yeah. All right, let's crack on.
All right, so how was your Puffing Dragons Festival?
It was good. Yeah, I was due to go there about 11 o'clock to help set up and get the barbecue firing and stuff. I was standing in my middle of my house, looking out the back windows where it was beautiful sunshine and a little bit of shadows and quite nice. And out the front, it was absolutely belting down rain, like absolutely belting down. So I got there and it had another massive belting down of rain before the game started, and I think there was about two and a half teams there, and no supporters, no one else. So I was looking a bit grim, but it didn't rain for the rest of the day, and so I had a decent number of spectators towards the end. I managed to play 4 games. There was 5 games on. Um, Snuck a couple of tries, so that was good. Yeah, the fourth game I injured my shoulder, and I've got what I've now learned is an IRRT injury to my shoulder. So apparently, it's quite a common injury for small white guys playing rugby. It's an Islander-related rugby trauma.
Love it. That's good.
so, so I got given the ball on the blind side, and I looked up and if anybody who's fully into rugby, there's a Samoan guy called Trevor Leota, and he was quite famous for being a brick wall in defence. And age has changed nothing. He's still a brick wall in defence.
Yeah, sweet. And just
So
play socially.
yeah, I just play socially now, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I ran up running into him, um, but I got the ball back and we scored off that ruck, so I figure it's totally worth it.
Uh,
But yeah, that's a soft tissue injury and strained ligaments, so that happens.
but you didn't feel it
But yeah,
till the next day after having a couple of beers that night?
oh, I felt it straight away. I knew I'd done my shoulder straight away. That was my right arm, and I drink left-handed, so it was all good.
Yeah.
So we had kick-ons after all the games had finished to watch the Super Rugby final. Um, pretty pretty slow game, and Crusaders grounded out like the Crusaders do. And you got a feel for the Chiefs being the first losers again for the third year in a run.
Yeah, what are they got to do
So
to get over the line? Yep.
they've got to be due for a win soon.
Yep.
So that was good. That was enjoyable. And then Steve and I kicked on to Hiker afterwards, where I proceeded to lose my beanie, lose my glasses. So it was a good day.
You seem to lose things quite easily when you've had a few beers, don't you?
Yeah. Oh well, the beanie fell out of my jacket, so I didn't actually lose it. It fell out of my jacket,
Yep.
and I'm sure I brought my glasses home, but I can't find them. So now I'm backtracking through the Uber and Hiker trying to find my glasses. But I
Um,
swear I had them at home when I got home, but can't find them.
Dougal's holding the beanie ransom, so you'll have to see what you can do to get that off him next time you're at Hiker Salisbury.
Well, I wasn't planning on it, but maybe I'll buy some beers or something that'll release the beanie.
I think so. Yep.
I never plan on buying beers when I go there.
Yeah. Alrighty. And so in other beer news, you had Wine and Stefana has announced itself that Queensland's German Club has got the third highest venue for volume pouring, the third highest volume pouring venue in the world.
Yeah, yeah. I remember thinking at Gabs, I thought it was interesting that they were there
Yeah.
because um you just assumed that Australia would be a fairly small market and you had massive transport costs and I remember thinking at the time it's a bit strange, but yeah, I found that article saying that German Beer Club has the third highest volume pour for all the breweries in the world that Vine Stefana shipped to. Amazing, right?
It's
Who would have thought that?
unbelievable. I've been there heaps of times, and I love, grabbing a Weiny PILS off the tap and having it with your Schweinhacks. And, um, my father-in-law has been a member at the German club there for decades. And, some of the stories from when it started playing, Kegel in the back room there. And they always have like the market days. And even he was saying when his wife, my mother-in-law, wasn't even allowed in the German club when he used to go. So they used to take beers out to the women in the car park. And the women used to drink in the cars in the car park because women weren't allowed in the German club back in the early days. So just the history and everything, but the fact that that little that it's a good little club, um, directly opposite from the Gabba if you don't know it. The in Wollongabba there in Brizzy, but the third, like you'd think there'd have to be, you know, beer halls in the US and in Europe, and that would just do so
Yeah.
much more. But maybe they just have the bottles, not having it on tap.
Yeah. And yeah, you just assume that like that Germany would hold like all the top pouring venues.
They must have the first two
But
at least. You think?
yeah, well, I didn't actually research what the first two were, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's just I read that and I had to read it again to make sure I was right. But
yeah.
yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Oh, it's absolutely great for the German club. Well done, and well done to everyone who has helped that. And I would strongly suggest if you're in Brisbane and you have a day off, go and visit them. You can join up to be a member on the day there if you want, or be a visitor, of course. Um, and it's a really cool little place.
Yeah, I'd advise skipping breakfast and lunch, going there for dinner and having the pork knuckle.
Yeah, it's worth it. You
Definitely need to
don't,
skip a meal for that one. It's big.
you don't have to have sauerkraut. You can have it if you want.
Mm.
But yeah, and German potato salad, really nice. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool story. Um,
Mm.
we also have the UK group Powder Monkey has purchased the newly consolidated Akasha and Wayward breweries after previously purchasing Willie the Boatman and Southern Highlands Brewing. On top of several breweries they've already got in the UK, they're also looking at expanding to Europe and the US. So they are really making some big moves um, internationally for what started off as a single brew pub in the UK. So I don't know if Powder Monkey someone we should keep an eye on, but that's a massive move.
Yeah.
That's four breweries now in Australia at least. So
Yeah. Imagine being the accountant or the lawyer for Akasha and Wayward. You've gone from in the space of was it 2 months being independent, then combined brewing in Australia to now all of a sudden being bought out by a UK brewery group. Like,
the paperwork must be piling on his desk.
yeah. You wouldn't think they would have finished everything from the previous merger.
No,
Now cracking on straight onto the. I wonder if the merger was part of
it could have been
the
part of the
sale
deal. Yeah,
to Powder Monkey.
yeah. We'll buy it, but
And
we'll
that
buy
was,
them if you're together or something like that.
yeah, I wonder. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alice Springs Brewery have released the name Port Lincoln Brewery Co for their Port Lincoln site. Of course, makes sense for a tourist destination to be named after that location where they are. Um, and the plan is to work seasonally between the Alice Springs and Port Lincoln, being the tourist trade. So um,
Oh, yeah.
in the winter, it'll be Alice Springs focused, and in the summer, it'll be Port Lincoln focused. I think it's a logistical nightmare, but I hope it works out for them. I think it was something ridiculous, like 3,000 kilometers from each other or something. But yeah, it's interesting having two breweries so far away from each other.
Was that one of Hendo's clients and he was talking about that on
Yeah,
the Boss and the Brewer podcast?
Alice Springs is, yeah, yeah,
I seem to remember him talking about someone having two sites
yeah.
very far apart. So I'm pretty sure it was those guys.
Yeah, well, I know they're looking for a head brewer at Alice Springs at the moment, so I don't know if the head brewer there's left or is going down to look after Port Lincoln or what the deal is. But
Mm.
yeah, definitely an odd move. And you had here about Groundswell Brew and Bottle in Mandurah. Um, with all this doom and gloom, you see that WA seems to be bucking the trend.
Yeah, I did a search for just for some stuff earlier this week, and I come with about just four or five WA breweries that says Groundswell. They've not like a small on not a premise, but a full tavern
Yeah,
with some like 25 or 30 taps and local distilleries and wine in there and local produce. Um, yeah, the 350 person venue is not a small place. So either they're not feeling the pinch or they're going all in.
for Spin
Yeah,
Effect. Yeah,
yeah, Spin Effects are there. So apparently their production site is in the same precinct. So there's this, what was it called? The Food Innovation Precinct. So Spin Effects are in that precinct. They've started this new tavern. Um, and
yeah,
it's open 7 days, which I thought was unusual as well.
it is for a hospitality venue.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty unusual. So um, there must be like a I'd assume there must be like a reason for people to be there on Mondays and Tuesdays and even Wednesdays where it's not really that common. So maybe that food innovation precinct has got people coming through all the time.
Yeah, and you had Impy
I
Brewers
thought that's interesting.
there too.
Yeah, if your brewer's opening a new tap room in Wanneroo, so they've got two venues about 20 minutes apart in Perth now. And from my guess about the article I was reading, I
Mm,
think that the new venue will become their kind of commercial venue, and the current one will turn more into a production site.
yeah,
And yeah, I mentioned the family who run it are from South Africa, so a lot of their food offerings is um, South African in nature. So if I'm ever in Perth, that will be a definite visit for me because I enjoy a good braai,
yeah.
which is
Brai
traditional South
beer.
African
That's good.
barbecue.
Yeah,
Braai is a traditional South African barbecue.
yeah, yeah. No, that'd be good.
It's more kind of a gathering. It's not just the barbecue, but yeah, they're good fun.
Yeah, fantastic. Um, you've also mentioned that Crafted in September and the Gold Coast have announced some of the breweries.
Yeah, they've got quite the normal breweries that you see. And one of the ones that stood out, they've got Precinct, Bolter, Burley Brewing, Black Hops, Madocke, all fairly, the larger kind of Gold Coast breweries. But Kaiju, they said they're gonna have a Kaiju stand down there.
Yeah, nice.
So I thought that was pretty good. They I haven't had a bad Kaiju ever. And yeah, they also announced they're going to have a crafted smoke show. So um, competition sounds like having like competition cook off, and there's eating competitions and some education classes. So that's something new. I think that's new for this year.
Yep.
So something new for people to have a look at.
Yeah, smoked meats and beer at a festival with music. Like it sounds pretty bloody good, to be honest.
Yeah, what else do you need?
Yeah, not much. I had Hiker East Brisbane's turning number 1 this this weekend, and they're celebrating with a Swing the Ring tournament. So that should be a bit of fun if you've played Swing the Ring before. Um, it might get a bit messy near the end, I reckon. So that should be fun. North America Week at Sea Legs is coming up next week. Kangaroo Point with a couple of limited release beers and foods to match. The Maple Bacon Poutine from Canada for Canada Day sounds really cool. Um, I'm a big
Mm.
fan of poutine. Armageddon is back at Archive in August. Archive in West End has been around for, well, it's now the Brisbane's longest running beer festival.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and Archive have been big supporters of the craft beer industry over the years. So I can't remember the last time I went to Archive. Do you?
yeah, I went there with Anna because we were going to a gig in um what so it's in I was going to say Newstead, but it's not Newstead. Um, we're going to a live gig like really close to Archives. We went there for a couple of beers beforehand.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that whole West End, like there was Catchment and Brisbane Brewing Co. and Archive. They're all sort of in the same block, but the last few times I've been there, it's the whole area's been fairly quiet. So um, I know they're building a lot more accommodation there. So hopefully they'll get a bit of a kick on from the accommodation.
Yeah, I've got my brother-in-law works at a bottle manufacturing plant um, right on the river there,
Mm,
and so they're relocating out to Beenleigh. I think it's in 27.
yep.
So I have to imagine that that land will be snapped up and developed into 17,000 units.
Yeah, but that's probably the
It's
plan.
it's it's massive. That
They probably got offered to relocate to for the they probably getting a kickback for the land or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah, that land would be worth a squillion.
Oh yeah.
I, it'll be massive. I don't, it'll be massive. The block of land it's on,
Mm.
like it's bigger than is it Paul's? Is that the milk company next to it?
Parmalat. Yeah.
Parmalat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think his site is bigger than Parmalat's.
Yeah. That's pretty
So
impressive.
it's massive. Yeah, it's huge.
And that's another industry there that I'm sure that they wouldn't mind relocating it as well and just developing that whole area, putting in a ferry stop. Yeah,
Yeah, yep,
I
yep.
can I can just see that happening. Um, and so I called out on the Facebook group this evening for any community questions. Brian, he asked how much the Black Hops NFTs would be worth these days. I remember they released a beer with an NFT on it. I think you got an
Yeah.
NFT if you bought a case, or I can't remember how it worked. It was a bit of during the NFT boom of all those monkeys and everything. Um,
Yeah.
I reckon if you owned one now, you could probably sell it to Judo Bank. They seem to be buying everything.
Acquiring all the Black Hops assets.
Yeah,
Uh, all the-
getting all their money that they can, taking people's
yeah,
houses. I hear. Yeah,
yeah, I read that article as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone did. It was on about 50 pages online, so you're not going to miss that story. But
yeah,
yeah, look, I don't know what the NFTs would be worth, but I haven't heard much of NFTs in about 5 years. So, good question, Brian. I'd say probably Deadly Squat.
yeah.
Yeah,
Half of Diddley Squat.
yeah, yeah. Jocelyn actually jumped in and did a shameless plug for Hop On Brewery Tours having a dash of Brisbane on Saturday. Um, Great opportunity to visit three breweries with all your tasters included. So if you jump on one of those Hop On Brewery Tours, just let them know that we sent you, and they'll probably laugh at you. But
And Joss will give us Diddley Squat.
yeah, yeah, she will. They're another deadly spot for us, but why not call it out? They're good people. They do good tours. You might learn something new about a brewery you haven't been at before. So jump on their website and book a tour for sure. But yeah, I think they've got some seats free on their half day tour on Saturday. So hopefully you've listened to this before then and you can jump on. And that's all I had there. So, did you have any more beer news?
Just ripping through my list.
This is good
No,
potting for everyone.
no, that's all I had.
Lovely. F1. So, Red Bull Ring in Austria this week. I think it's a really cool track. You can sort of see a lot of the track from the grandstands. They always put on a big show there with Red Bull owning it, and they do the jet flyovers and everything like that. Are you going to watch the F1 movie?
Yeah, I probably will.
I've
I'm
heard
not.
mixed reviews.
I don't know if I'm enthusiastic about it, but I'll watch it. I get when it's free on the streaming, I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to pay for it.
nah. Um, I'm trying to convince one of the kids to come with me, so I'm not sitting in the cinema by myself. Because yeah, it's apparently it's pretty Hollywood, but of course it is with Brad Pitt and that. But some of the car stuff's pretty good, so be interesting to see.
Yeah, I saw footage of him driving a gosh, was it Mercedes CLK 60 or something today?
No, he had the
Wasn't I
McLaren
didn't see, was it McLaren? That's what it was. Yeah, McLaren.
MCL
And
60.
well, sorry, there wasn't any footage of him driving it. There was footage of him sitting in it,
Yeah,
and then footage of him after saying, "Oh, that was a rush." But I didn't actually see anything of him driving the car. So
nah, it was probably just a publicity stunt, or it could have been just AI. You don't know
yeah,
these
probably
days. Yeah.
no.
Did you see the video of Valtteri Bottas looking at the seat of a new Cadillac? And
Yeah,
he went, "Oh, that seat's really nice." I didn't know if it was a playful joke or if
there's,
they're in
there's
talks
two
for.
seats.
Yeah, now there's two seats available.
There's
Yeah,
another seat free as well. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And he was saying, how good the seat looked in the new Cadillac. So I don't know if he's having a bit of a piss take there, which he can, or just a playful joke, or if they're in serious concessions for considerations for him going to Cadillac next year.
yeah,
I think a new team, they'd be good getting someone like him or Perez uh, for one driver, and then having a younger driver who can go on and sort of build with the brand for the future. Whereas the older driver can sort of take some of the media heat and maybe guide them and sort of do what Fernando Alonso's doing at Aston Martin.
yeah. Danny Rick,
Yeah, I'd love to see him on the
get
grid
Danny Rick
again,
on the
but
books.
I'd love to see him on the grid again, but I don't think he wants to, and I think you've got to
Mm.
want to do it. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, at that level, the media exposure and the team pressure and results, like yeah, if you're not in it 100%, then I think it would be a really sucky environment
mm.
if you weren't absolutely committed to
and
doing
Cad-
everything.
and Cadillac's not going to come in and be happy with sitting down the back of the grid either. They want to be up there fighting, like all teams do, but you're not there just to make up the numbers.
No.
Yeah, with GM's money behind it, it seems a bit odd that GM would actually put in money for an F1 team. They seem to be struggling as a manufacturer. Like all their car sales are
Yeah.
dropping around the world, and they're dropping brands and selling brands like sold Opel and closed Holden and um, ended Pontiac. What else did they? Oh, there's been a few that they've stopped. So yeah,
Maybe they want their own movie,
possibly.
GM versus Ferrari.
Yeah, that makes sense. That was a good movie actually. The
Yeah, and
Ford
yeah.
versus Ferrari, nearly as good as Rush. Did you see Rush with Chris Hemsworth in it playing James
Uh,
Hunt?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cracker of a movie.
Yeah, that was a brilliant movie, yeah.
Yeah,
And I did some reading on James Hunt's history,
yeah,
and it seemed fairly accurate, the movie. Like
yeah,
like some of the things that he did happened in real life. So
yeah. They didn't pull
some of the
any
off
punches.
track stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and the crash at the Nurburgring and everything like that in that movie was pretty full on. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, very cool. Well, that's all I've got on my ticket. On yours, anything else?
No, that's it.
Fantastic. What a lovely chat. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you want to know more beer rubbish, F1 rubbish, or hear more about Angus's drunken adventures, be sure to tune in next week. Cheers, Angus, mate. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Luke.
Yeah.
See ya.